I get a lot of people who ask how quick this thing goes, and the answer is quick enough. Right guys, welcome back to the channel. It's a cold, crisp December's night, and what better thing to do than mess around with e-bikes in my lovely heated workshop. So we've got the Vapor here, which you know you've seen in the other videos before. It's absolutely caked in mud. Look at it, absolutely. It's been on a couple of little trips where I've just had a little thrash for 5-10 minutes and blasted about. But we got a problem, guys. We've got a problem. Basically, there's something happening with this display, and I think it is down to this. You can see these wires here hanging out. Now, I knew this might be an issue coming up later, but I just didn't fix it. And you know what? It's going to become an issue if you don't fix stuff like that. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to take this off. This handles the throttle. This is a cycle analyst. Let's try and fire it up, and I'll show you what has kind of happened. So let's just turn this on here. So that should actually fire up now. So 73 volts, so it's not fully charged either. Can you see this here? We've got some strange stuff going on here. It's not sensing the throttle properly. There's no throttle because something has happened with these wires behind here. So look, if I kind of, this is a bit dodgy to do, guys, because this could actually end up launching through the front of this room workshop. But yeah, it's not working. It's just not working. So rather than try and fix this at this point, I'm going to actually just bypass that screen completely, take that off, and wire a throttle directly into the speed controller, so that I can actually, you know, ride this thing. Then I've got another plan for the display, because these displays are really good, but they're a bit chunky and they get in the way, all this sort of stuff. Ideally, I'd like to have something on like a twist mount like that. This is just a GPS unit. It can't display any battery information, but that's what I want to do. I want to basically put a little smartphone on here, and then because the BMS inside here, the battery management system is Bluetooth, so it can actually send all the information to a smartphone. If I can get a smartphone sort of case or something that fits on this. Done this before on another build. So let's get cracking. First thing I need to do is turn it off, so it isn't going to go flying through that workshop door. Right, that's shut down now. Should see that go off. There you go. So the next thing I need to do is take out this display connector, which is actually under here somewhere. And if you can see that in there, but I need to just access this, get that out, and then we can wire the throttle directly to the speed controller. Now the only downsides to that is this system actually monitors the motor temperature, and it will actually throttle back you know, the motor power if the temperature of the motor gets too hot. Now I've not had a situation where it's got too hot yet, so I'm happy that I'm not going to have that problem. I can always probably connect this temperature sensor inside the motor, maybe to something on the BMS, or have some sort of other readout. I don't know, I'll figure that out, but I just want to get this thing working. Once I've taken this off, I can look at fixing that as well. It's an absolute blimmin' mess though, all this. It's covered in mud. I just hate this time of year, but it's gone super dry at the moment, like really cold and crisp, so I want to actually get this kind of up and running for the weekend so I can have a little rip. So I just dropped the battery out. The battery's in one of these triangle bags. It's not ideal. I want to make a proper case for it, but you know, it's doing the job right now. And just to remind you, this battery is the battery that I made myself. It's a 20S 9 amp hour, so 72 volts, 9 amp hour, made out of Samsung 21700s, 30T cells, which can handle like 35 amps each. So insane, really, really crazy battery. That wire there goes up to the on and off switch for the BMS, so that's just going to sit there for the minute, and then I need to access these wires down here, and I think there is actually a throttle one here somewhere, so I need to find out what one that is. There you go, throttle. So what I need to be doing is wiring directly into that, and go from my thumb throttle all the way down into there. At the moment it's handled by the cycle analyst connector, which is that big chunky one there, so we need to take that off, rip that off, rip that out of the way, and then we can start working it out. Right, nearly there. Just had to find the right Allen key to get this off. I actually made this this mount for this a little bit kind of more low profile, so it's not the actual mount that comes with the cycle analyst, because it's a little bit, the mount that comes with it is not that great. It kind of looks really goofy, as I've mentioned before. So this is coming off, and then the next thing I'm going to have to do is work out with this throttle, wire it up. So I'm going to have to look on the instructions to the phase runner controller that I'm using. Oh, actually this throttle, just got a little screw in my mouth. Actually this throttle's just got one of those on it, so I can do something with that. Right, what else have we got on here? Something else is going back down into the... Oh yeah, it's the temperature sensor for the motor. Right, what I'm also going to do while I'm here is I'm actually going to put this battery on charge so it's ready for when we get it sorted. We can have a little blast. So I've got 10 amps of current. I'm going to bring that down to 9, charge it at 1C. Right, so it's alerting me because the battery's not turned on. So of course I need to turn on the battery. It's okay because the battery's disconnected from the bike now. This little connector here, this battery's basically separate from the bike, so it's not going to power anything on this bike. I'm not going to take my hands off or anything like that. So let's get this thing on charge. Yep, so 75 volts, 9 amps going in. We'll leave that whilst I work on the other stuff. So I've got my throttle wire coming out of here. Don't think I've got any of these connectors on here, so I might have to sabotage that. I might have to just get to the wires directly, do a soldering job, 3 wires all the way up here to the well, to the other end of that. I might see if I've got one of these on a long bit of wire. That'd be really handy. Right, I believe I found the thing that I need. Just a little bit of wire that's gonna reach from the handlebars down to, look, it already looks a lot better without that big goofy thing on there. So yeah, I've got the wire and I'm just gonna try and connect it to this because I don't want to sabotage this throttle too much. I can just connect it to that and then wire it directly into the speed controller. Also need the world's smallest heat shrink as well. I always use scissors for wire stripping, always have done and always probably will. I think it was when I was a kid I couldn't afford anything fancy, so I just used what I had. So just 3 wires, the ground, the 5 volt and the signal. That's all you need for throttle. It's just very straightforward. Most throttles are the same. If you're changing throttles on e-bikes, they're not all exactly the same, so you might need to calibrate the controller again. If you just put a new throttle on, not all controllers you can calibrate either, so that is a problem. I'm doing this pretty quickly because I actually want to get out tonight. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to have a good go. I'm going to have a good crack. Red to red, white to black. Right, they're on. Heat shrink them up. Take a picture of the colours. Big bit of heat shrink over the whole lot. Right, now I've got to attach the other end to the speed controller. Right, so here's an interesting one. I just cut the 3-pin plug off here and there's hundreds of wires. So here's the plug, but that's the interesting point. There's 4 wires on here and obviously we were only using 3 for the normal throttle. And it seems like 2 of these wires here are joined together. So I'm not really sure why that is, but I'm just going to copy that. So I'm going to go, basically I need to find the blue and the green and the red and the black from that loom. And I'm just going to presume that the blue and the green go to the same signal wire. Right, just got to solder them now. Doing it on the bike is never easy, especially when you forget to put the heat shrink on. So now this blue and this green saga then. I need a cameraman, that's what I need. Or camera woman, whoever Sarah is. Right, moment of truth. We need to see if it's going to work before I heat shrink the rest of it up. Yeah, don't know, it's 50-50 whether this is going to work. Charger's finished though, so that's good. Stick that there, all this mud is just falling off this bike. So I need to plug this throttle in, because if you fire the controller up without actually putting the throttle in, it might throw a wobbly in, so there's a fault. Right, big amount of sparks on that. I think my BMS might have tripped because of that inrush current. No LED on the controller. What's happened there then? To measure the voltage on the battery, just to make sure there's actually something coming out. 83.5 volts. This doesn't sound good. I should have turned the BMS off before I plugged this in, because that was a gigantic spark. So unplugging the throttle. This doesn't look good, guys. It looks like the controller's blown. Right, well that's super annoying then, guys. I can't get it working. I'm wondering if there's an extra wire. You remember there was all those wires in that connection area for the throttle. I'm wondering if there was another 2 that might be connected together to maybe turn the controller on. I don't know. I'm going to speak to Grin Technologies who made that controller and see what the deal is. I mean, it shouldn't blow. I've never known of a controller blowing when you actually just connect the power, you know, and there's a spark. Obviously the capacitor's charged. I've never known one to blow like that. But these are ridiculous cells, so you know it's a ridiculous battery. So maybe it just dumped too much current really quickly. I don't know. I'm going to speak to Justin at Green anyway and see what he says. Meanwhile, I'm charging my heated glove batteries up. These are amazing. These RST heated gloves, really good. I've mentioned before in a video, but people keep asking me, so go check them out if you want good warm hands when you're riding. I think I'm just going to take the big bike out this weekend. So I just need to give my goggles and my crash helmet a little spruce up because this is looking a little bit worse for wear. Right, I got this nicely spruced up then. I still love this setup. Oakley goggles, Fox Rampage. It's like a full face mountain bike helmet really. It's not a motorcycle one, but it's good enough for the e-bike side of things. Couldn't resist it, guys. Still wanted to get out. This isn't actually charged though, that's the bad thing, so I'm not going to be able to go far. Yeah, so this little display, this little phone here, this is what I was going to use on the other bike, because you can put a little twist mount on here and then just mount it up there. But it makes for quite a nice little display because you can see all the stats from the BMS and everything on there. What we should see on here in a minute when this connects up. So we've only got 13.8 amp hours left in the battery, but because it's extremely cold, I think what's happening is the voltage of the battery is actually dropping down quite a bit under acceleration. But it's interesting though, I thought it was less than that. It's actually 14 amp hours, so got a little bit of juice. It is quick, that thing. I reckon I can make it quicker though. I reckon if I put the battery from the Vapor in there, I reckon it'd be a lot quicker, even though it is a smaller battery, smaller capacity. That battery's crazy. I reckon it will hold so much more voltage under load than that other one. By other one, I mean the one that's made out of litre Kohler cells, the one that I made first in, I don't know, it's last year I think. So anyway guys, this video isn't really going the way I originally planned it. I wanted to get this bike up and running and get it sorted, but it's now turning into a bit of a vlog. So let's just roll it, see where it goes. Anyway, it's time to do the all-important thing on a Saturday night, go and get some fish and chips. And that, as you probably know by now, is an excuse to go out in the Twizy. Question is, am I going to fit out that gap? It's pretty cold tonight, better get the old foot heater on. This could be a little bit tight. Right, I'm going to clear that. This thing really does just slide out of any little gap. Right, sorted. At least it's nice and dry now. I love it when the roads are dry and it's just dry and cold. That's what I like. I like it even better when it's hot, but... easyparking.com. Great chip shop. Got the fish and chips, got to get them back before they get cold now. It's really funny, I was thinking whilst I was in there, I used to, in the vlogs, like way back, I used to go to the chippy round the corner from where I used to live, and I used to put it in the vlogs. So if you go back, wind back, I don't know, you know, a couple of years, you'll see me going to the chip shop on a Saturday. Different chip shop, different place, completely different. It just makes you realise how long I've actually been doing this now. Wow, how eerie does this moon look, guys, look. That's insane. Looks massive, it probably don't look that big in the camera.
Morning guys, it's Sunday, it's pretty early. I was laying in bed this morning and I was thinking, this can't be right about this phase runner controller, it can't have blown. And I started thinking again about all those other wires that were in the actual throttle cable. I was thinking there's got to be other things, something's just ringing in my mind that you could actually have a remote on-off switch and also reversing and things like that. Sure enough, I googled it and I was looking on the phase runner manual. There's two manuals. There's the original one, and I actually think I got sent the original one with the phase runner, but there's actually a V2 manual, and sure enough it explains that there's lots of other wires in the throttle lead that you can actually access to do the different things. Reverse, the motor, and also the on and off switch. So they're saying that the white and the yellow wire is actually the on off switch. So let's just connect those two together and give it a go. Right, they're connected temporarily. Moment of truth. Yes! How stupid am I for not doing that in the first place? Throttle's doing something as well. I might need to reconfigure that, but all's looking good. Just need to wrap that up properly now. There's actually the full pack voltage going into one of these wires here, so you've got to be careful they don't short on anything else. It won't be a problem because the wires are very thin. If anything happens, it will just burn the wire out, but you've got to be careful. Right, so as I thought, guys, I've had to get the laptop out because the throttle, I think, is actually configured to it's not working basically with the controller. I think it's actually triggering a fault on the controller, so I need to adjust the controller to match the throttle range from this throttle, because before obviously it was going through the cycle analyst, which we don't have anymore. So this is the phase runner suite. I've done other videos about this as well, so if you're interested, go check some of those other ones out. This has been a massive mission getting these settings right on this phase runner controller. It's just still haven't got up properly yet, so I need to actually find out what's going on. Throttle voltage now is actually 0.81, so if we edge it up, you can see that right. I don't know if you can see that rising. The bike's actually going to go forward at this rate, but I think what's happening is I think this voltage is actually going too high for what's actually set up. Alright, well, let's go to the dashboard and then just see what this registers. I'm going to need to put the camera down. Right, it goes up to 3.77 volts. Right, I think I've sorted it. Let's try again. Shouldn't really be doing that, just holding the back wheel up in the air when it's doing like 60 miles an hour, but hey ho. Seems right now. So what I've done is just tweak the throttle maximum voltage, 3.8 volts, according to what I saw on the dashboard. And then I've removed this brake start voltage right down to 0.3 because I'm not using regen. I think it was getting a regen error. Yeah, it was saying here that max regen voltage rollback, so because you don't have regen on a mid-drive.
I get a lot of people who ask how quick this thing goes, and the answer is quick enough.